Welcome to Backbone Unlimited. My name is Matt Hartsky. If you're not familiar with who I am, I've been hunting and guiding Western big game for over 34 years, and I've been a professional strength conditioning and nutrition coach for more than 30 years. And I'm here to help you become a more successful and consistent hunter and outdoorsman. In this episode, we're breaking down where to glass for black bears because this is one of the most misunderstood parts of bear hunting and one of the most asked questions I get, and it's why a lot of guys spend entire days or seasons behind optics without ever seeing a bear. Most hunters assume glassing is about elevation or distance. They pick the highest point they can get to, sit down, and start scanning everything in view. When they don't turn up bears, they assume the unit is empty or that bears must be nocturnal, and that's almost never the case. Glassing for black bears is about angle, aspect, and timing, not just visibility. Bears don't show themselves everywhere. They show themselves in very specific places for very specific reasons, and usually for short windows. If you're glassing the wrong slopes at the wrong time of day or from the wrong position, bears can be right there without you ever knowing and without really ever giving you a chance to see them. In this episode, we're stripping glassing down to what actually matters. We're going to talk about what bears need when they step into the open, what types of slopes and terrain features consistently reveal bears, how to position yourself so bears don't disappear into blind spots, and why most glassing setups fail even when bears are present or nearby. If you want to stop glassing empty country and start seeing bears consistently, this episode will tighten that gap fast. So let's get into it. Most bear glassing setups fail for one simple reason. They're built for scenery, not for bears. Hunters love big views. They love ridge lines, peaks, and lookouts that let them see everything. The problem is, bears don't live where everything is visible. They live where food, cover, and security all overlap, and those places often sit below the biggest views. Another common mistake is glassing terrain that looks good to humans but doesn't make sense for bear behavior. Deep timber, shaded north-facing slopes, and snow-heavy drainages may hold bears at certain times of year, but they rarely expose them during daylight. Bears don't step into the open just because it's open. They step out when the conditions favor them, when warmth, feed, and security all line up. A bad glassing setup usually has one or more of those problems. The slope is shaded for most of the day. The terrain is too steep for feeding. The angle creates dead ground where bears disappear. The hunter is looking across cover instead of into feeding zones. Another major issue is timing. Many hunters glass early and late like it's elk season, then spend the middle of the day hiking. Bears often do the opposite. Midday warmth can pull them out when it's chilly still early on, especially these early springs that we have coming up. If you're not glassing when bears are most likely to expose themselves, it doesn't matter how good your optics are or what kind of spot you're in. Finally, most hunters don't stay behind the glass long enough. Bears don't move constantly. They feed, stop, bed, and shift slowly. What looks like a stump at first glance often becomes a bear if you give it time. Effective glassing isn't about seeing everything at once. It's about seeing the right ground repeatedly until movement reveals itself. If you want to glass black bears effectively, slope selection matters more than elevation. The most consistent slopes for glassing bears, especially in spring, are south-facing and southwest-facing slopes. These slopes receive the most sunlight, warm up faster, and produce feed earlier than shaded aspects. That warmth pulls bears out of timber to feed, digest, and soak up solar heat before it gets too hot later in the year. But not all south-facing slopes are equal. Gentle to moderate slopes are far better than steep, cliffy terrain. Bears prefer to feed where movement is easy and where they don't have to constantly climb. Grassy benches, rolling hillsides, and broken slopes with scattered cover are ideal. Burns are another high-value glassing option. Old burns allow sunlight to hit the ground, which accelerates the green up. They also provide visibility, making it easier to spot bears against lighter backgrounds. Bears will often feed along burn edges where timber provides quick escape cover. Edges matter more than interiors. Bears are far more likely to show themselves on the edge of cover, not in the middle of wide open hillsides. When glassing, try to prioritize transitions: timber to grass, burn to cover, and snow to dirt. One mistake a lot of hunters make is glassing the tops of slopes and ridgelines. Bears often feed below the skyline where they're harder to spot from above but easier to see from a side angle. That's why side hill glassing positions are so effective. They let you look into feeding areas instead of straight down or straight across those zones. If you're glassing slopes that stay shaded all day, you're wasting a lot of time. Bears may pass through those areas, but they rarely linger there in daylight. Sunlit slopes are where bears pause, and pausing is what makes them visible. Where you sit to glass is just as important as what you're glassing. The goal isn't maximum elevation, the goal is maximum usable visibility. That means choosing positions that eliminate blind spots, reduce dead ground, and let you watch bears as they move rather than catching brief glimpses. Side hill vantage points are often ideal. From these positions, you can glass across slopes at eye level, which makes bears easier to pick out against the terrain. Looking straight down creates shadows and depth issues. Looking straight across into timber hides movement. Whenever possible, position yourself so you're looking into the sunlit side of slopes, not into shadows. Light direction matters. Bears stand out better when they're lit from the side or front, not backlit or buried in shade. This episode is brought to you by TideWe and their revolutionary see-through ground hunting blind. If you've ever hunted out of a traditional blind, you know the trade-off. Either you can't see out without cracking a window, or the second you do, you risk being spotted. That's where TideWe's see-through ground blind changes the game. From the inside, you get a full 270-degree field of view through 3 walls of one-way see-through mesh. You can see every movement outside without opening a thing. But from the outside, you stay completely concealed. Game animals can't see in, even when you're sitting just a few feet from them. This blind is fast and simple to use. The pop-up hub system lets you set up or take down in just a couple minutes. Noise-free sliding windows give you multiple shot options without spooking animals. Brush-in loops let you blend it into your surroundings, and the open bottom design makes it easy to stay quiet and comfortable. You can choose between 2 sizes, the 2 to 3 person or the larger 3 to 4 person version like the one I'm using here. And you've also got your choice of 150D or the more durable 300D fabric, so you can pick what fits your style of hunting best. The price of this blind is already phenomenal, but you can get another 18% off by using code BBU18 at checkout. That's BBU18. Another critical piece is distance. Being too far away flattens the terrain and hides detail. Being too close limits your field of view. Moderate distances that allow you to dissect terrain in sections are ideal. Break slopes into zones. Start at the bottom, then work up slowly. Focus on edges first, then benches, then pockets of cover within feeding areas. Move your glass deliberately and return to the same spots multiple times. Bears often appear where you've already looked, but only after you've been there a while. Staying still also matters. Constant repositioning creates movement and reduces your focus. Long sits from good glassing positions outperform constant hiking almost every time when it comes to spotting bears. The right vantage point turns bear hunting into observation instead of guessing. Now, glassing at the wrong time of day is one of the fastest ways to convince yourself bears aren't anywhere around. In spring, bears are often most visible in the late morning through mid-afternoon. As slopes warm, bears tend to step out into the feed and digest. Early mornings can be slow, especially if overnight temperatures were cold. That doesn't mean bears aren't present early. It just means they're less exposed during those springtime early thaws. As the sun climbs, activity often increases. Slopes that were empty at 8 a.m. may hold bears by noon. If you glass once and move on, you miss that shift. Afternoons can be productive, especially on warm days when bears linger in feeding areas longer, especially early spring. Evening activity can also be good, but visibility drops fast once those shadows creep back in. Consistency matters here more than perfect timing. Long glassing sessions through warming periods beat short checks at the prime hours. Bears reward patience. Hunting for black bears isn't about seeing everything. It's about seeing the right places at the right times. Try to focus on sunlit slopes, especially south facing aspects with early feed. Prioritize edges, burns, benches, and gentle terrain where bears can feed efficiently. Position yourself to eliminate blind spots and glass side hill whenever possible. Stay behind the glass long enough for bears to reveal themselves. Most hunters don't fail because bears aren't there. They fail because they glass the wrong ground at the wrong time for too short a window. If you want to sharpen this kind of judgment even further, that's exactly why I built Team Backbone. It's more than just a membership, it's a way to sharpen your edge with exclusive tools, strategies, and a tribe of relentless hunters. Inside, you're going to get 20% off site wide on all Backbone Unlimited gear, the option to have a t shirt shipped to your door every month, full access to the digital content vault of guides, checklists, and backcountry strategies, a private Facebook group with direct access to me and a community of driven hunters, direct call, text, or email access to me for personalized advice on training, hunting strategy, or just sharpening your edge, and automatic entry into monthly gear giveaways. This is built for the guys who train for the hunt, push themselves in the off season, and want to be part of a tribe that makes them better. If you're ready for that kind of inner circle, then Team Backbone is waiting for you at backboneunlimited.com underneath our membership tab. Thanks for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, train harder, hunt smarter, and never settle.